Hey, welcome back to the follow-up video on the installation of the ShopSlick. This is that UHMW, ultra-high molecular weight plastic coating that was introduced here recently by Shopsmith. If you're new to the channel, I typically try to put out a follow-up video to answer the questions, comments, and cheap shots that came up from the comments in the video, and also to cover anything that I didn't have time for, which there were some things trimmed out for time. Believe it or not, on a 20-minute long video, I trimmed some things for time. But let's just cut to your questions and comments. The first one, interesting, good video. The obvious pipe prop is kind of a jarring turnoff. Sorry to hear that. Interesting question asking what is the best product to use to keep everything rust-free. John Doe posted that he keeps his Shopsmith in a shed in Florida in the heat and humidity, and that rusting is a real pain. He also said that he currently has a shower curtain lining over it. So my first advice to anybody is get yourself a good cover. And what I mean by that is there are covers available. I have one I can show you. Hold on a second. Like, where are you going to go? Years ago, Shopsmith brought out a line of covers. This is one that can go on the Shopsmith jointer. But more importantly, this is made of a fabric material that can breathe. Interestingly, it won't trap moisture in, but it'll keep moisture out. So if you were to pour water directly on this, it would flow off. But this type of cover is super handy in a situation like you're in down in Florida. You can buy those exact covers used on eBay, but there are similar covers available. I'll see if I can find some, and I'll link to them in the video description. As for if you want to perfectly waterproof your cast iron, I installed on that jointer fence back there a product called Flood Penetrol. And that is basically a plastic sealer, I've also used polyurethane on cast iron as well. This product may turn out to be that type of solution too, but what I can tell you right now is those other two options will absolutely seal the cast iron. Yes, you can use paste wax. If you're not using the tool, if you're putting it in storage and it's going to be months between usages, I would go with something that is a bit more like I mentioned there with the. John also went on to ask about paste wax. Was there a specific furniture paste wax I recommended? Yes and no. I mean, if you can get some Johnson paste wax, that's great, but it's discontinued. Tree wax is fine, although it's not as good. And I've also been using and am mostly in love with Butcher's Bowling Alley wax, which again, I'll link to. I say I love that a lot. On some surfaces on the Shopsmith, I found it to be too slippery, where you're waxing the way tubes. When you lock the headstock down, I actually found that it was slipping a little bit. So I've had to tighten even more when using that wax. So I'm not sure that that's a big advantage, but yeah, definitely the tree wax is fine. A couple people asked, is there an actual link to the product? There is now. When I linked to it initially, it hadn't gone live on Shopsmith's website. It has now. It's not an affiliate link. You can go to Shopsmith's website and search ShopSlick, one word, and you can find it there. They make it in 3 different sizes, and just measure whatever it is you're going to cover, and buy the size that's appropriate, or just get the large one and have some leftovers. Ann said that it was good to see me without the wrist brace. Yeah, I actually had to have a steroid shot, and that seems to be doing a lot better. Thank you so much. But she, along with several others, commented on my just sorry installation of this product and mentioned using a squeegee. I replaced that, I'll call it that section, because I just wasn't happy with all the bubbles I got in. That was the very first one I installed. And I picked up a set of 3 of these, I guess you could call them squeegees, scrapers, on Amazon. They have kind of a felt-ish, at least that one. I just felt that one. Very inexpensive, and that worked great on the installation of that when I reinstalled it. I wasn't happy with the bubbles. Yeah, my favorite comment relating to that is you brought a wooden block to a squeegee fight. Several people talked about rollers. They talked about, you know what? One idea that came up from several people was, couldn't you install this the way vinyl wrap is installed on vehicles and forklifts and things like that? Which is they apply a liquid that's something like, let's just say like Windex, and then you can squeegee the vinyl onto the surface, and then that takes care of it. But the problem is, I don't know what product would be appropriate for bare cast iron. All those things are water-based. I also reached out to the CEO of Shopsmith, Andrew, and asked him that question, and he said the adhesive that's used in the ShopSlick, it's not recommended that you use something like that because that's going to act as a solvent. And as I learned when I peeled this section off, it came right off the adhesive. The adhesive stayed on the cast iron. And so I had to use a razor blade to scrape the adhesive off before adding the new section. So if the adhesive is that inclined to not stick to this, I don't know that you would want to introduce a solvent. Anyway, I can't wait for us to learn more about that. I had a really long comment from somebody who, first off, was not happy that I put the video out before the product was available. Look, here was my thinking on that. I got permission from Andrew to release it. He thought the product was going to launch, but there was some hiccup on their website. I thought that people like me who enjoy Shopsmith tools would like to have a heads up on a brand new product. Apparently, some people were bothered by that. Here's the deal. I don't work for Shopsmith. I have no monetary relationship with them, which is why I say go find it on their website yourself. So, you know, tough. And I'm very curmudgeon-y tonight, so it's going to come out again here in just a moment. Somebody said they heard a few months ago that Shopsmith was closing their business, and that's what they'd heard. Yeah, that was true. The previous owner of Shopsmith, a gentleman who owned it for 2 years, closed the business down, but it was since purchased. And in fact, I interviewed the CEO, which I mentioned a moment ago. He is one of the 2 owners of the business now. It's back up and running, and yeah, that's great news. Cody says, I think it's a good idea to have the table very warm before application. Back over here is, over here is the heat gun I used to warm it up. This space is air conditioned. It was fairly cool that day, also pretty humid, and so I used the heat gun to dry off the solvent that I used and also to kind of preheat the surface. I was curious about heating that bubbly surface that I had here. Again, I reached out to Andrew. He said, don't do it. So don't heat the product, but it's okay to warm up the cast iron. Now, here was an interesting comment about using the product. After replacing that section, this was all I had left, so I wasn't able to do my jointer as I had hoped. But here's an interesting comment from O. Gary. He said, when removing the backing paper, first flick the corner with your thumb and long finger. Middle finger is my longest finger, so I'm flicking it with these 2 to introduce a separation. Then you can grip the backing. So I'm gonna flick this. What am I flicking on this, Gary? I got no separation. What I did wrong in the video was I removed way too much of the backing. You don't need to remove much. I needed to keep it under tension and apply pressure. Well, here, I shot some video of that section. Take a look at this. Okay, now something else I didn't show. I was in chatting initially about this product with Andrew. One of the things that he thought might be useful for us as woodworkers is, a lot of us will use our tabletops as glue-up surfaces because it's often the flattest surface we have. And he was saying that most woodworking adhesives wouldn't stick to it. Well, I thought I'm really going to put that to the test. So I glued blocks of wood. And there we go. Most of that came up as well. And left it on here for 3 days. I glued with a CA glue, with a PVA glue, and with a type 1 or a type 2 adhesive? I guess it was a type 1 adhesive. And what was interesting is the type 1 adhesive removed super easy, but the standard white PVA glue left kind of a stain on there, or film. You can see kind of a little milky film right there. The CA glue also left a little bit of a residue. So I reached back out to Andrew and he said, So I guess the idea here is, as I mentioned in the last video, that the idea of applying a paste wax over the surface might also give us that benefit of drip removal. I wouldn't recommend putting a huge puddle of glue and gluing a block of wood onto the surface, although it seems reasonable because it's kind of plastic. Typically, things don't stick to it. So that's not a main purpose of this product. But if you're going to use it as a glue-up surface, you might want to put some paste wax down. I think that's a best practice anyway, since this is something that we want to maintain a nice, slicker than snot surface, which, by the way, someone took offense at, that I had that in my thumbnail, the word snot. And, I guess this kind of ties back to my pipe smoking. I think around the age of 55, I stopped caring what other people think. And I find that funny, slicker than snot. If you think it's boogers, but it's snot, it's chiffon. That was a joke that we used when I was in about 4th grade. Lots and lots of bodily function humor around my family with 9 grandkids and currently a runny nose. I don't find that offensive. If you're offended by that, if you're offended by this, there's lots of other channels you can watch. I hope you stick around and can look past my faults. All right, that's it. Make it a great day.